Joining me today again is Dr. Ian Thompson with the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, and you've got quite a few things here to share with us. A lot of these the Choctaw made and used. Can you kind of tell me about some of these things?
Of course. These are some different objects that our ancestors made out of plant materials, and today some Choctaw artists still use these things as a way to connect with the earth and also as a source of income and even subsistence in some cases. So one of the most important plants for us was river cane. It's called ofski in the Choctaw language. There are 3 different species that live in the United States. There's a little bit of it here in southeastern Oklahoma. There's a lot more of it in our homeland. It used to be a major part of the landscape. There were river cane breaks that stretched for 30 miles in one direction, and they were carefully maintained by Choctaws and other Native American people through controlled burns.
In the Mississippi area, correct, originally?
And even into Oklahoma.
Okay.
Today it's down to about 2% of its original range, so it's a threatened plant. But we and others are working to revitalize it. It's the only Native American bamboo in the United States, and it takes it a while to grow. These 2 here are a little bit small in diameter for making basketry, but picture that it was, say, this big in diameter. What you would do is you would split the cane into 4 pieces, perhaps more, these long strips, and then you carefully shave down the nodes and you thin the strips that you cut off. And you use that to weave baskets. I have here 2 very old Choctaw baskets. These are made in the traditional techniques. This one is called Choctaw in the Choctaw language. You remember how we sifted the mussel shell last night? This is the equivalent of that metal sifter we used, made out of river cane. Now this one's got pretty big holes in it. You couldn't use it for doing the fine mussel shell, but you could use this as a colander for washing fruit. You could use it to sift out the big mussel shell for cooking pots. Different tasks.
So they could even weave a basket that had a finer net to it.
Oh yeah. 200 years ago, Choctaws wove baskets that were so tight they'd hold water.
Wow.
So these are the cane strips I was talking about, woven together carefully. This one has a functional rim. It's a double rim, which is the traditional style for us. This is another basket, maybe even a little bit older. This is a basket for carrying things, just what it looks like. This one has native dyes in it. You can see the dark brown and the light brown. It's probably made out of black walnut hulls and pecan nut hulls.
And this is the natural color then? Or is this dyed also?
This is the natural color of the cane after it's aged. You have some new cane baskets right there. That's what it looks like when it's new, and this is what it looks like after it gets maybe 100 years of age on it. This is another version of a sifter basket. It does the same thing as this one here. It's just a different style, but also a traditional one.
And then this one here we have is a unique shape.
This one's called ofko in our language. This is used for winnowing corn after you pound the grains when they're dry. You put them in here and you toss it up in the air, and then you allow the breeze to blow the chaff, the corn husks off, and the corn meal falls back into the basket.
Very nice.
So I've got some other objects here. Yesterday we looked at dogbane, and I explained that when it's dry you can use it to process fibers. These are some from last fall, and you see how the stalks turn red. It makes it easy to identify in a field of yellow grass. I was talking about the toxic sap. Well, the sap's gone now, so you don't have to worry about that.
Good to know.
It's important. The plant has this reddish outer bark, and right underneath it are these more yellow-colored bast fibers. You process this in different ways. Usually you crush the stalk, and then you split off the chaff, and then you peel these bast fibers back, and then you clean off the outer bark.
So it's these fibers that you would use?
That's right.
Okay.
So here's some 2-ply cordage that I made out of these fibers.
So that's what you use to make the rope then?
That's right. And dogbane has a unique characteristic. Not only is its fiber really strong, but it's also very rot resistant, so it's ideal for making a fishing line or a net or something like that. What I'm going to use this for is to make a traditional sash.
All right, so what else do we have here?
Well, now I'll show you what we use for making traditional bows. Let's clear a little bit of space here.
Okay.
Yesterday we looked at the hickory tree.
This is not the same tree, right?
It's not.
It is a hickory?
Often you'll work the hickory wood while it's green, but there's another technique of splitting it into staves like this and letting them dry. This is a hickory stave that's been drying for about 2 years. To make a bow, you need a piece of hickory that's straight. It can't have knots in it. It can't have a propeller twist. It's just got to be nice straight grain wood. So here's one that's been shaved down some. It's had the outer bark removed. There's just a little bit of inner bark still adhering. The next step would be to carefully scrape that off. This bow, unlike these two pieces of wood, is made out of bowdark, and it's about 15 years old. It's made out of the heartwood of the tree, and it's now turning dark. It was electric yellow when it was brand new. You can see how the side of the bow that faces away from you is just one growth ring. They're not cut through anywhere. That makes it stronger.
How did you go about making these?
Some of these are made out of river cane. Others are made out of straightened shoots of dogwood. And they're different tips. This one's a fishing arrow. It's made from strips of hickory that have barbs cut into them. It's waterproof. The glue's made out of pine sap mixed with charcoal, which isn't affected by the water. And then underneath that pine sap, you can't see it, there's dogbane string that ties all of this together, and then the pine sap holds it.
Okay. So you've shown us a lot of different things here, and it's just been amazing and learning about how the Choctaw use the plants to make the pots, and also a lot of the other tools that they used. Is there anything that you want a lot of Oklahomans to know about the Choctaw people?
Absolutely. We're a Native American tribe. We're the third largest in the country. We have over 200,000 citizens. And we have a deep heritage and connection with the land, like I've been talking about with you the last couple days. But also we're modern people. We have this amazing heritage. We have this connection with the past and with this earth. But we go home to modern houses just like anybody else. We drive cars just like anybody else, and we're just a unique group of American citizens.
So if somebody wanted to learn more about the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, is there somewhere that they could go to learn more about this or see some of these things?
Absolutely. The tribe has a website, www.choctawnation.com. It has many resources and links on it. And if you're interested in the culture in particular, I'd recommend our website, www.choctawnationculture.com.
Well, Dr. Ian Thompson, thank you for sharing your culture with us.
It's an honor.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.